What do you mean, no?
No.
I think he's saying he's old enough to operate it.
Yes.
The Star Wars galaxy just keeps growing, even nearly half a century later. There are plenty of new movies on the way, bringing back familiar faces and introducing fresh stories. With so many projects announced and reshuffled, it's hard to keep track. So, here's a quick look at what's next for Star Wars on the big screen. The Mandalorian and Grogu. The Mandalorian and Grogu are officially heading to the big screen with a movie simply called The Mandalorian and Grogu. Star Wars dropped the news online, catching fans by surprise. Jon Favreau shared his excitement, saying he's loved telling stories in George Lucas's amazing universe and can't wait to bring Mando and Grogu to theaters. The movie is set to kick off the next wave of Star Wars films and hits theaters on May 22, 2026. At D23 2024, fans got an exclusive sneak peek, showing Grogu as Mando's little bounty-hunting apprentice, more screen time for Zeb Orrelios, the Razor Crest making a comeback, and Baby Yoda chilling with some Babu freaks. Yup, those tiny Anzellans from The Rise of Skywalker. So far, the only confirmed new cast member is Sigourney Weaver, though her role is still a mystery. As for the villain, The Mandalorian and Grogu reportedly already has the perfect bad guy lined up, but it's not who everyone's been guessing. Since there aren't many confirmed characters or plot details yet, fan theories are flying everywhere. But one big theory about the main villain might actually be completely wrong. A lot of fans are convinced Grand Admiral Thrawn will be the big bad in The Mandalorian and Grogu. Right now, though, Thrawn isn't on the confirmed character list for the movie. Still, after his big return in Ahsoka Season 1, many think he's the most likely choice for the main villain. The Ahsoka finale really hyped him up as a major threat, making it seem like he's set up to play a huge role in Star Wars' next big screen story. In Ahsoka, we saw Thrawn escape Peridea with Ezra Bridger secretly on board his ship. He made it clear he plans to reunite the Imperial Remnant and rebuild the Empire, with himself in charge this time. That definitely sounds like the kind of villain arc that would fit perfectly in a new Star Wars movie. It would also make sense, since Thrawn would naturally become the New Republic's biggest threat. After all, The Mandalorian Season 3 ended with Din Djarin agreeing to work with the New Republic whenever needed. If Thrawn showed up with a new empire, Din and Grogu would have no choice but to get involved. But here's the thing, there's actually no solid proof Thrawn is in this movie. His story so far has been tied closely to Ahsoka and Star Wars Rebels, but he hasn't had any real connection to the Mandalorian storyline yet. It would be a big leap to suddenly make him the villain for Mando and Grogu. Since there's no confirmation of his involvement, it's likely there's another, more obvious villain waiting in the wings for this movie. Elia Kane really stepped up as a major villain in The Mandalorian Season 3. She pretended to be a reformed Imperial in the New Republic's amnesty program, but it turned out she was secretly working for Moff Gideon the whole time. Her true colors showed in one of the most chilling scenes of the season when she betrayed Dr. Pershing. At first, she acted like his friend, even encouraging him to continue his cloning research even though it was against New Republic rules. But then she sold him out, exposing his work. When the New Republic tried to gently erase Pershing's Imperial loyalties using a modified mind flayer, Elia volunteered to stay in the room alone. Instead of following the protocol, she cranked the device up, essentially torturing him. That moment showed just how ruthless and cold she really is. Her double agent status, posing as a loyal citizen while secretly helping the Imperial Remnant, makes her even more dangerous. And with Moff Gideon now dead, Elia is perfectly positioned to become a key villain moving forward. Since Din Djarin has agreed to help the New Republic on a case-by-case basis, it's likely he'll end up hunting down Imperial spies hiding in plain sight. That would naturally lead him straight to Elia Kane. A showdown between Din and Elia would make sense and tie directly into the story's current direction. I get why so many fans are hoping Grand Admiral Thrawn will be the main villain in The Mandalorian and Grogu. He's already a fan-favorite character, with the power and presence to feel like a true big-screen threat. But when you really look at Din Djarin's story, Elia Kane actually makes more sense as the movie's primary antagonist. For one thing, The Mandalorian Season 3 got a lot of criticism and is widely seen as the weakest season so far. Tying the movie's plot to the events and characters from that season, especially someone as pivotal as Elia Kane, could help redeem some of those choices and make them feel more meaningful. Since the film is supposed to wrap up the story threads from all 3 seasons, it would be a logical move to bring Elia back in a major way. Plus, Elia's history as an undercover Imperial spy embedded within the New Republic gives her a personal connection to Din's journey. She's already proven herself as a chilling villain, and with Moff Gideon gone, she could easily step up as the next major threat. Of course, just like Thrawn, she hasn't been officially confirmed for the movie yet, so we don't know for sure who the villain will be. But based on what we've seen so far, Elia Kane would be a smart, story-driven choice for the big screen antagonist in The Mandalorian and Grogu. Star Wars Starfighter. Star Wars Starfighter is the newest movie announced by Lucasfilm, set to push the saga beyond even the events of the sequel trilogy. The reveal came as a huge surprise during Star Wars Celebration 2025 in Tokyo after months of speculation about a secret project in the works. Even more exciting, it's arriving sooner than some previously announced Star Wars films, making it one of the next big steps for the franchise. So, who's behind Starfighter? Shawn Levy is officially confirmed as the director, making his Star Wars debut. Rumors about Levy taking on a Star Wars film have been floating around since 2022, and he finally confirmed it last year. However, the 2023 Hollywood strikes delayed things a bit. Levy is best known for fun, crowd-pleasing movies like Night at the Museum and Free Guy, as well as the Netflix hit The Adam Project. He's also worked closely with Ryan Reynolds and even directed episodes of the upcoming final season of Stranger Things. Speaking of Ryan Gosling is officially joining the Star Wars galaxy. After months of speculation, Levy confirmed it on stage at Celebration, with Gosling himself showing up to share his excitement. While his exact role hasn't been revealed yet, it's safe to say he'll be the movie's lead. Gosling already has sci-fi cred thanks to Blade Runner 2049, where he starred alongside Star Wars legend Harrison Ford, but he's also known for award-winning performances in La La Land and The Notebook. Bringing in an actor of his caliber is a smart move for Star Wars, especially during this new era of storytelling. Story details for Star Wars Starfighter are still being kept tightly under wraps, but the title itself gives a few clues. It's pretty clear the film will center on a starfighter pilot, most likely Ryan Gosling's character. Since the movie takes place after the sequel trilogy, his pilot could be tied to the New Republic, the remnants of the First Order, or maybe even an entirely new faction we haven't seen before. What his mission is, though, is still a total mystery for now. The title might sound familiar to longtime fans because it's the same as the 2001 video game set just before The Phantom Menace. That game followed 3 pilots trying to stop the Trade Federation's blockade of Naboo. But despite the shared name, it's highly unlikely the movie will have any direct connection to that prequel-era story. There are also some unconfirmed rumors floating around. One suggests the plot could revolve around a young boy and his uncle, possibly Gosling's character, being hunted across space by a pair of villains. But as always, these insider leaks should be taken with a grain of salt until Lucasfilm releases official info. As for the release date, Lucasfilm surprised everyone at Star Wars Celebration by announcing that Star Wars Starfighter will hit theaters on May 28, 2027. That's a pretty quick turnaround for a movie that was only just confirmed this year. Interestingly, it will arrive before several other previously announced Star Wars films, like Rey's new Jedi Order movie, James Mangold's Dawn of the Jedi, and Dave Filoni's Heir to the Empire crossover event. Starfighter is set to follow The Mandalorian and Grogu, which means production will likely kick off very soon. With a roughly 2-year turnaround, this movie could also serve as a testing ground for more Star Wars spin-offs from big-name directors. If it succeeds, it might finally pave the way for long-discussed projects from Taika Waititi, Rian Johnson, and Patty Jenkins. The story will take place 5 to 6 years after the Rise of Skywalker, which sets it around 40 ABY, after the Battle of Yavin. That makes it the first project to fully explore the post-sequel trilogy era. It'll give fans their first real look at the state of the galaxy after the New Republic First Order War, potentially laying the groundwork for entirely new stories. As for connections to the Skywalker saga, Starfighter won't directly tie into those events. Sean Levy confirmed it will be a completely original standalone story within the Star Wars universe, not reliant on past films or characters. This marks a deliberate move by Lucasfilm to focus on fresh stories outside the Skywalker family legacy, something fans have been asking for since Disney took over. If Starfighter delivers, it could mark the beginning of an exciting new era for Star Wars on the big screen, proving the franchise can thrive beyond the Skywalker name. A new Rey movie. At Star Wars Celebration 2023, Lucasfilm confirmed a brand new movie centered on Rey, set after The Rise of Skywalker. This film will follow Rey as she works to rebuild the Jedi Order, fulfilling the promise she made to Luke Skywalker. It will be directed by Sharmeen Obaid-Chinoy, marking her first time helming a Star Wars project. The writing process has been a bit of a roller coaster. Watchmen showrunner Damon Lindelof and the Strain writer Justin Britt Gibson were initially attached but left the project. Then Peaky Blinders creator Stephen Knight stepped in, but he also eventually exited. Now, George Nolfi is working on the script. Kathleen Kennedy previously hinted the story is set 15 years after the Rise of Skywalker, in a time where the galaxy is still recovering from the war with the First Order and the Jedi are scattered and unclear about their future. Kennedy explained the focus will be on big questions like, who are the Jedi now? What's their role? What shape is the galaxy in? Rey is trying to rebuild the Order based on the Jedi texts and the promise she made to Luke. Obaid-Chinoy told CNN in early 2024 that they're crafting something very special, while Daisy Ridley teased that Rey's journey will involve lots of discoveries and remain a creative, evolving process. So, it sounds like this film will explore both the challenges and mysteries of trying to restart the Jedi legacy in a post-war galaxy. James Mangold's Star Wars movie. James Mangold, the director of Indiana Jones 5, is working on a Star Wars film that will take the franchise further back in time than ever before, thousands of years before the Skywalker saga. This movie will focus on the very first Jedi and the origins of the Force itself. When the project was announced at Star Wars Celebration, Mangold described his vision as a biblical epic, something in the vein of the Ten Commandments but set in the Star Wars universe. He wants to explore fundamental questions like, where did the Force come from? When did people first discover it, and how did they learn to wield it? Lucasfilm president Kathleen Kennedy said this concept has been a long-standing point of interest within the company. She sees it as the perfect complement to the Rey film, which moves the story far into the future. Together, these projects will bookend the Star Wars timeline, one exploring the dawn of the Jedi, the other focusing on the rebirth of the Jedi Order. Kennedy confirmed in February 2025 that the project is still moving forward, though Mangold's work on A Complete Unknown, his Bob Dylan biopic, and its award season buzz caused some delays. Still, the plan remains for Mangold to deliver an epic that reveals the very beginnings of the Force and the first steps toward what would eventually become the Jedi Order. Dave Filoni's Star Wars movie. At Star Wars Celebration 2023, it was announced that Dave Filoni will direct a live-action Star Wars movie that serves as a crossover event for the Disney Plus shows, The Mandalorian, Ahsoka, and the Book of Boba Fett. The film will act as a culmination of the interconnected storylines from these series and will be set between Return of the Jedi and The Force Awakens. According to recent reports, Ahsoka Season 2 is expected to release before Filoni's movie, which will likely set up key plot points for the cinematic event. Filoni even teased the opening scene on the Happy Sad Confused podcast, saying that while writing Ahsoka Season 2, things have clicked, and he now has a much clearer vision for where the film is headed. He also revealed he has an opening sequence he's really excited about, which is already locked in his mind. This movie will essentially serve as the big payoff for everything Filoni and Jon Favreau have been building in the Disney Plus era of Star Wars. It could finally bring together characters like Din Djarin, Grogu, Ahsoka Tano, Boba Fett, and possibly even Thrawn in one massive Mandoverse finale. Taika Waititi's Star Wars movie. Taika Waititi is still set to direct an upcoming Star Wars movie, which he's co-writing with Krysty Wilson-Cairns. Beyond that, details remain a mystery, but one thing is clear: Taika wants to create something completely fresh in the galaxy far, far away. Waititi has said he's not interested in doing a nostalgia-heavy film filled with familiar cameos or direct callbacks like Chewbacca's grandmother or the blueprints to the Millennium Falcon. Instead, he wants to expand the Star Wars universe with new characters and stories that feel as bold and original as the saga did when it first began. He's also hinted that he'll likely appear in the movie himself, as he often does with his projects. Originally, Kathleen Kennedy mentioned the film was eyed for a late 2023 release, but it obviously didn't make that date. The script has taken longer than expected, with Taika writing most of it solo to maintain his unique voice. Kennedy explained that they're protecting his creative process because of how distinct his storytelling style is. At Celebration 2023, Kennedy reassured fans that the project is still alive. She revealed she's already seen a first act she loved, but tying Taika down has been difficult because of his busy schedule. As of February 2025, she confirmed he's now working with another writer to keep things moving, but it's clear this film won't be arriving anytime soon. Waititi himself said he wants his Star Wars movie to capture the spirit of the original trilogy while still feeling new. He's determined to get it right, even if it means the film takes longer to develop. Lando. Donald Glover is officially coming back as Lando Calrissian, and the long-discussed Lando project is still very much alive. Originally announced as a Disney Plus series, it's now shifted into a movie, which makes a lot of sense given Glover's star power and the character's big screen legacy. Where exactly this story fits on the Star Wars timeline is still unclear, but it will focus on Lando's swashbuckling adventures. Given that it follows Solo, a Star Wars story, it's likely to feature the younger version of the character rather than the timeline closer to The Empire Strikes Back. Kathleen Kennedy has clarified that Lucasfilm isn't looking to recast younger versions of iconic characters like Luke and Leia unless there's a strong creative reason to do so. But when it comes to Lando, she's been clear. This one is happening because Donald Glover is passionate about it. At Star Wars Celebration 2023, she told IGN, "I can just tell you it's still happening and he's very excited about it." Glover himself confirmed in a GQ interview that he's been in active talks about the project. In August, it was revealed that he and his brother Stephen Glover had taken over writing duties from Justin Simien, making this very much a Glover-led creative effort. Now that's a wrap for today. What do you think about all these Star Wars projects, both the ones in development and the ones officially confirmed? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button because we'll be keeping you updated on all these films and series, plus plenty more exciting news from the galaxy far, far away. We'll see you next time.